What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of DSM Pre-Game Live, Week 13 in Baltimore. Eagles 9-2, Ravens 8-4. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, MVPs, OPOYs. A lot to get into, guys. We're going to get our keys to victory, our standout stars, our best bets, our game predictions, all of that and more throughout the course of this pregame show. I'm one half of your host, Dylan Davis. To my left, my faithful co-host, Scotty. If you are new to the channel, if you are watching on Twitter, first of all, thank you. We also would like you to follow us on all social media platforms, most specifically Twitter, because it is the best spot to interact with us. It's where we're most active across all platforms. And then if you want to be interactive throughout the live stream or any of our live streams right now, make sure to subscribe to the DSM Philadelphia YouTube channel. It's the only spot we can see your thoughts, comments, and questions. So make sure to tap in, subscribe, like, share it, whatever you got to do. My man, Scotty, happy week 13. Happy Sunday, brother. And the biggest game of the year is just about 4 hours away right now. So we're getting pumped. We're getting ready for this one.
Yeah, man, this is definitely one I know I've had circled on my calendar. I know you probably have as well from the start of the season, even when the schedule was just announced,
right?
Back in whenever it was, August, July, whenever they do that schedule announcement, right? I looked at this one in Baltimore. I knew it was going to be the most significant test that we would face throughout the season. And, anytime the Chiefs aren't on there or something like that, I think that's when you can look at the Ravens in that light. Because obviously you look at Patrick Mahomes, look at Lamar Jackson. But the reason I bring that up when I go into this matchup, the reason it is so significant for me is because it is there's no other player that can mimic what Lamar Jackson does on a football field. So it is the ultimate test. Can you beat Lamar Jackson? Can you hold Lamar Jackson in check? And it's a very important test, man. When you look at the mobile quarterbacks around the league, if you were to get to the Super Bowl, there's only a few teams that you're going to end up playing in the Super Bowl from the AFC, right? And the Ravens are in that talk. They are in that big 4 or 3, whatever you want to call it over there in the AFC. So it is the ultimate test here today, man, and I'm very excited. I think the other side of it as well is just like the mobile quarterback aspect. You mentioned the running backs, like the duos in the backfield aspect. Like there's so many like cool, interesting things that go into this matchup, honestly.
Right. There's no two duos. Like you mentioned, mimicking Lamar Jackson, there's no one that can do that. So if you can stop him, if you can slow him down, you can do a lot of different things defensively to build upon. But the same thing, like you look at Henry and Lamar in Baltimore, you have Hurts and Saquon here in Philadelphia. There's no two other tandems like it across the National Football League. And at doing it at this level, right? Because for the longest time, especially Baltimore started slow. They started 0-2 before they went and beat Dallas. So they definitely started slow. But since about week 3, week 4, when they started to pick up steam, that rushing attack, that duo really took off. And you had both of them in the MVP conversation. Well, who's more valuable? Is it the new piece in Henry? He's going to, he might score 17 rushing touchdowns, 20 rushing touchdowns this year. Now, as the Eagles have hit their groove, winners of 7 in a row, Saquon Barkley as a running back is in the MVP conversation. Jalen was in it for a little while. I don't know that the numbers for Jalen are gaudy enough, pop off the page enough from a passing perspective to really have him in like the top 2 or 3 of this conversation, but he was there, and I would say he's somewhere in the conversation as well. So you have a couple MVP and Offensive Player of the Year candidates in this game offensively. But I got to say, man, normally we kick these shows off by talking about our offense and talking about Saquon Barkley. 425 marching his kickoff in Baltimore, 425. But normally we start by talking about offense. This game is defense for me. Look, does the offense have to go out and perform 1,000%? Duh. Maybe it's wrong of me, but I'm expecting them to do so against that weak that pass defense that's down there in Baltimore and the way that they've been exploited. I'm expecting the Eagles to be able to move the football today, protect the football. We'll talk about all that, but the defense, right? Vic Fangio's unit, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, this defense that has been top 5, top 3, top 1 in a couple different statistical categories over this 7-game win streak. They've had a couple tests. You had Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford on the road last weekend. You had Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin in that rushing attack come to town. They've faced some tests, and they've answered the call. There's no bigger test than this one, my man. There's no other Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. There's no other Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah. There's not a lot of offenses as dynamic and explosive as this Baltimore one is and has been for weeks now. If the Philadelphia Eagles defense can go on the road today and play anywhere near the level that they've been at, I'm not suggesting they're going to hold the Ravens to 17 or less points today. You hold Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to 23 or less, 20, somewhere in that ballpark, then it'll, as high as my ceiling and expectations are for this Eagles team already, you slow down this Ravens offense, they go through the roof, because the difference maker for this Eagles team will be how real the defense is to complement our explosive offense.
Just wanted to pull up Martian's question here. I think they are, but at the same time, they're not. Like, it's weird, right? Because immediately, man, when I was coming into this game, and to your point, I think I do agree with you. I think it's a key. Like, the defense needs to not come out and get ran over, right? Like, it can't be like a game against Cincinnati for the Ravens where they come out and score 35, 40 points in this matchup. And I think something that I am going to be like looking and paying attention to is like, is our defense closer to like Pittsburgh and Kansas City? And I group Kansas City in there. They have the pedigree, man. Steve Spagnuolo, when they get to the postseason, they're going to cause havoc. Are they closer to the Steelers, Kansas City type of defense? Or are they closer to like the Chargers or the Bills, who gave up 35 to the Ravens offense and just got kind of steamrolled in a sense by that Ravens offense? When they come out rolling, man, are we going to be able to get enough stops against that offense? And I do think that is a concern. I just don't know. It's a huge test is the way I'm going to put it. And I think where I'm coming from, I just have a ton of fucking respect for the Ravens and what they do offensively.
So let me just clarify.
It's a dynamic unit, man. It's something that we haven't seen.
Correct. That's
so like, I just feel like the offense does have to come out and show its strength today, right? Like AJ Brown is the guy that comes to mind. The difference.
Right. To clarify, just win this. But if you win this ball game like you beat Josh Allen and the Bills last year in overtime, if you win this ball game 41-37, you win it 35-33. I don't give a fuck. I'm not taking anything away from the defense. I think what I'm trying to say is this is the test of all tests offensively. And things that have, I'm just looking at it moving forward from a ceiling perspective. It's not going to lower the Eagles' ceiling if they give up 30 plus points to Lamar Jackson today. What I'm saying is, if you go out there and look and play at the level you've been at recently, and this defense handles business, that is such a difference maker for me, man, come January. And hopefully we play into February, because that's been the thing the Eagles haven't had for their 2 Super Bowl runs. They didn't force a team to punt in either Super Bowl we have played in the last 7 years. No punts in 8 quarters. If you go and do that to Baltimore today, the ceiling raises exponentially, because with how good this offense is, if the defense is legit, they are by far the most complete team for certain. Yeah.
See, and I don't even view it this way per se. I think there is a world where this could have to happen. Like if we come out and get steamrolled defensively by the Ravens, then Jalen Hurts might have to come and have an out-of-body, if you want to call it that's disrespectful, actually. I'm not going to use that term. Not calling it out-of-body. We watched him do it against the Bills last year. He has to have one of those type of performances, in the Super Bowl, right? We watched him do it in the Super Bowl. Fair, And so I don't even view it as that even, right? Like it's more or less, it's almost what it comes down to for each and every game, man. You can't kill yourself, right? You can't have the Eagles beat themselves today, because if you look at this matchup on paper, I see Brian Pumper, you're a Jalen Hurts hater. So everything that you say comes with that hate.
Brian's
So we're not going to agree. We're not going to agree here. I'm not a Jalen Hurts hater. I don't believe that. So there's going to be people out there like Brian that believe this. When you look at this matchup on paper, as much as I respect the Ravens and who they are, this is in Baltimore, so that does have to come into play a little bit. The Eagles are the better team. They're the better football team. They're the more balanced football team. Lamar has thrown the ball great this year. He's been great through the air. You're looking at A.J. Brown, man. Like A.J. Brown versus Zay Flowers. That A.J. Brown, as you can see, is my X factor today, and maybe that speaks more to him than Jalen Hurts. But, like, I don't know. I'm looking across the field, man, and which defense is more likely to stop the other offense, I guess, is the question that I have to ask.
So here's the thing, right? I know you don't like Jalen, Brian. That's fine. Real quick, the Lamar thing. Lamar's been stopped. There's a reason he's never been to a Super Bowl. There's a reason he doesn't play well. Lamar Jackson is very good. Multi MVP, might win another one this year. Uber talented. Uber athletic. I get it. You're able to get him stopped. You're able to stop him. Here's the thing, Brian. We're too one-dimensional. They had the best rushing attack in the National Football League. Saquon Barkley has almost 1,400 rushing yards in 11 games. I just have a question. How many plays per game or how many yards are available per game? So if they run the ball a lot because they have a lot of success at it and Saquon has 1,400 rushing yards on top of Jalen's rushing yards, how many passing yards and attempts are available on a game-to-game basis? They're not one-dimensional because they have to be one-dimensional, Brian. And we appreciate you for tuning in. They're one-dimensional because they're the best rushing football team in the league.
Yeah.
They're not doing it because they have to and Jalen can't push the ball down the field. It has to do anything with that. 1,400 rushing yards from Saquon Barkley in 11 games. There's only so many yards to go around. So, yes, his attempts are going to be lower. His yards are going to be lower. The numbers passing-wise aren't gaudy. That's why he's not in like the top 3 or 4 MVP talk anymore. But Jalen Hurts has been damn good this season ever since the bye week. So, let's
it seems like he feels
one-dimensional kind of talk.
How do you come into this game just feeling like you don't like? It's almost like he's saying like the Eagles don't have a chance. I don't understand how you come out of what we watched from this team.
Jalen Hurts has to play out of body for the Eagles to have a chance to beat the Baltimore Ravens.
He doesn't.
The 8-4 Baltimore Ravens.
The Ravens that lost to the Raiders.
Yeah, our team has to play out of body to beat that team. That doesn't make
sense, man. In reality, we're going to see steel on steel today.
Correct.
Rushing defense from the Ravens, number 2 in the NFL today? Number 2 rushing defense against the Eagles, number 1 rushing offense. That's steel on steel. We're going to see who's stronger. And I do think it's a great test for our rushing offense because that is one of my keys here, Dylan. Staying true to the identity, right? Maybe not as far spread between pass attempts and rush attempts, but you still need to run the football. Yep. Saquon still needs 20 touches today. And I do see where the weakness is in the Ravens, obviously. Like, it is their pass defense. We're going to have to throw the ball today. I understand that. But I do think there's a world where we come out and we can just run the football against the Ravens because we're that damn good at it. And it's the way it's been all season. That's what you're talking about right now with the passing attempt. Why the fuck do I care about passing attempts if we have 2 losses on the season, dude?
It's very simple.
Who cares?
If Saquon Barkley rushes for 255 yards in a game, how many total yards of offense are the Eagles going to have in the game?
And we spend half our time in the run football.
And we're going to have 700 total yards. Like, that's not physically or statistically, numerically possible. So when Saquon's running for 255 and $180 and $160 and this and that, like, yes, the other numbers are going to be deflated because there's only one football and one play at a time and a certain amount of yards and points you are going to accumulate over the course of a game, over the course of time. That's fine, man. That's fine.
Yeah.
He's had his ups and downs in his career.
Did you believe in Lamar?
Jalen.
You believe in Lamar.
MVP Super Bowl Jalen. You have Claps Jalen. You have very good Jalen. I get it. It's been a bit of a roller coaster with him. But to sit here and act like here's my question, Brian. Apparently, you think Lamar Jackson's like the second best quarterback in the league. What the fuck has Lamar Jackson done?
It's won an MVP.
For you to be scared of Lamar Jackson, but not respect Jalen Hurts as a passer at all. Brian, there's only one ball. How much there's one ball. If Saquon Barkley's going to run 25 times for 255 yards, how many offensive plays can the Eagles run for Jalen to have 35 passes that you want in a game? There's one play at a time. It's not physically possible. Our passing attack is not. A.J. Brown had 6 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown last week, and it went under the radar because of how dominant the run game is. I don't know. I don't know why. Like Brian's an Eagles fan. I don't know why I'm having to try to sell you on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. They are on a 7-game win streak. Saquon Barkley is in the MVP conversation. They cannot be stopped on the ground. The defense is top 5. Why am I having to sell you on the Philadelphia Eagles right now?
I think what's bothering me the most is like I respect the Baltimore Ravens, but this dude is glazing the Baltimore Ravens.
I respect.
They're not that good.
Scared.
They're not unbeatable. They have 4 losses. They're not unbeatable, bro. Like, you look at these teams coming into this game. Sure, they were going to have to pass and throw. Baltimore has the 31st ranked pass defense. We're not talking about going up against the Kansas City Chiefs of the world. We're not talking about that Legion of Boom or whatever, Legion of Doom out in Seattle from 10 years ago. We're talking about the 31st ranked pass defense in the NFL.
Now, Devontae Smith playing or not today will be a huge part of what we want to try to do and what we can do today. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree, Liz. It's not that I get upset and like, I don't know. Like, I don't think Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFL. Like, I don't think that he's competing for the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't think, like, I'm not overvaluing him in my eyes, obviously. I guess that's the point of your own opinion. But I don't know. Like, I'm not even like guaranteeing that he's a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
A top 15 quarterback can air out the Baltimore Ravens defense.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take
he's better. And he's better to your point. He's better than that. You're just saying like what level.
Yeah, like you can be a top 20 quarterback and still air out the Baltimore Ravens defense.
Brian, let me ask you a question. Are you saying he's looked meh because your eyes are telling you he looks meh, or are you going game by game and saying, oh, he's not throwing for 300 yards and he's not doing this? Let me go down this 7-game winning streak for you in terms of Jalen Hurts. 16 of 25, 264, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 126.1 quarterback rating. They played the Giants where they won 28-3. He was 10 of 14, 114, 1 touchdown, 119.3 quarterback rating. Are you mad because he only threw the ball 14 times? They played the Giants and beat the brakes off of them. The Bengals, 16 of 20, 236, 132.5 quarterback rating. The Jags, 18 of 24, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 132.3 quarterback rating. Last week, 15 of 22, 108 quarterback rating, no turnovers. Where is the meh? Right? Like he's all he's doing is what he has to do because their run game is so dominant. They're not running in spite of Jalen Hurts. They're running because they have Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. That's the thing.
And I'm not saying this is 100% true, but like, isn't there a little bit of the less attempts you have, the less chance you have to build a rhythm? Do you know what I mean? Like, he gets 14 attempts to make a play, to make plays that are the difference in games, and he's making them.
Right.
So I don't know, man. Brian Pumper, I get it because there are other haters out there. Brian isn't alone. So I'm not going to sit here and call him like fucking nuts. I don't think he's fucking nuts or anything like that. I think he has just got a little bit of that Jalen hater juice in him, and these are the type of games where Jalen has to get that out of him. Get that up out of Brian. We got to win this game today now. Brian get me pumped up. He's getting me hyped. He's getting me even more excited for this game. Because he is right. He is right.
So, we've had to go on like this defend Jalen thing to start and defend the team thing before even getting into the game. The thing for Jalen, this is a huge game for him because of who's across the way. Yeah. They're going to be compared stylistically. Are they runners first? Who's the better passer? MVP versus getting to. So like they're going to be compared. Jalen has to show up today. 1,000% has to show up today. I just don't see what you're seeing. He struggled in the first day. Like, are you going back to when we weren't scoring points in the first quarter, like 6 weeks ago, and the team was starting slow and whatever? But
should hate on your own players, Terry.
Yeah, hate on that bum that you have playing at quarterback, Terry. But that's just where we're at, man. So look, my main key, Scotty, today is like, yes, especially if Devontae is healthy and going across from AJ and Goddard, etc. The thing is, you have to take chances against this Ravens secondary because they're too vulnerable, they're too weak not to try to exploit it. But I love and agreed with everything you said, man. Steele, I don't care where they rank against the run defensively. I do not care. You do not deviate from the plan. You do not go against your own identity just to try to pick at one of their weaknesses. Your strength is stronger than their strength. Steal on steal, pound on pound, run the football and run it early today against this Ravens defense, because I promise you, Scotty, you run the ball and you find even a little bit of success in the first quarter. You open up the play action, you get Jalen rolling out of the pocket, and those big plays, those slants, those quick hitters to AJ, to Smitty, to Goddard, those will come off of it. And that's how you exploit this Ravens defense.
No, I completely agree. Terry, you have to hate so hard on Jalen Hurts because the 49ers fucking suck. That is the basis of your argument here. Because if you really look at Purdy and think that he's anything close to Jalen Hurts, we're never going to agree.
To be fair to Terry, I see a lot of people that do that. Yeah. I don't see it personally.
He puts up numbers similar. Numbers similar. Does he play similar? Mm-hmm. Does he use his legs? Don't think so, but whatever. Big game for us today, Brian. I'm with you, man. It's time for Jalen to prove the haters wrong. I'm with you as well, Dylan. I do think you got to stay true to your identity today. You have to stay balanced. You have to hone in on being the best rushing offense in the NFL. And I think when you go against an offense like the Ravens today, it's another standard to match, right? It's another expectation or a goal to reach. Go out there and outgain that duo in the backfield across from you today. That's another goal that they can come into with this game. But no, that's exactly what I said. Even on defense, man, staying true to your identity on defense. I don't want to see us back in sticks defense. I want to see us still playing that aggressive, getting after it type of defense, in your face type of defense, in the backfield type of defense. I want to get some pressure on Lamar. Obviously got to contain him, but we need to get in his face, make him make some mistakes today, man. That's where I'm at. Staying true to the identity. It was my biggest key as well, man. Obviously, the other one, just not beating yourself. Turnovers, bad play calls, decisions by Sirianni to kick or not kick field goals.
It's going to be a huge game. Yeah. But here's the thing, man. What you're talking about and our defense versus Henry and Lamar, can you slow them down, and us staying true to our identity. To me, it's going to be which team, the losing team will abandon script earlier. Well, I told you what the Ravens did against the Steelers. Fair. Now, like you mentioned, there was one long run. They weren't running the ball well, but Lamar Jackson threw the ball like 37 times in that loss to the Steelers, while Derrick Henry only carried it like 13 or 14. Lamar didn't run a lot. They abandoned script. Which team remains physical the longest? Because you have Saquon Barkley, you have Jalen Hurts, you have A.J. Brown in the open field. They're going to be brought down early in the game. Good luck, like we've been talking about, continuing to try and take down and slow down Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown in the open field in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, so on. Same thing with Baltimore. Will they abandon the run if it's not there early? Because same thing for us, man. It's going to be a load to chase around Lamar Jackson all afternoon and then try to continue to tackle and wrap up Derrick Henry in the third and fourth quarter. Which team stays on path the longest and continues to be the more physical team in the trenches, in their running game, that will be the team that ultimately wins that game, man. So you have to come out and stick to your identity. Brian, look, man, I'm going to give your comment one more peek.
Byron Leftwich.
Look, first of all, what are you talking about, Byron Leftwich? Second of all, even a semblance of a chance to win. The Baltimore Ravens have 4 fucking losses this year. 4. They've lost to the Las Vegas Raiders and Gardner Minshew. Lamar lost to Gardner Minshew and the Colts last year. Lamar's never been to a Super Bowl. They have struggles in the postseason. Why are you acting like Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, are this unstoppable force that you can never get off the field or you have to be lucky to beat them? They are 8-4. He's never been past the AFC Championship. He's only been to the AFC Championship one time in his career. Stop acting like this team is some juggernaut and the Eagles should be double-digit underdogs today. Are the Eagles going to win? Maybe not. The Ravens.
It's the worst defense Lamar's played with.
But, like, my God, man. Like, to the comment from Jose earlier, yes, this is the Eagles' biggest test. I got fucking news for the Baltimore Ravens. This is their biggest test also. My Lord.
I completely agree, man. Yeah, Byron Leftwich. That's incredible. I even look up his numbers.
I want to assume it's sarcasm of some sort. I just don't know what it is.
It is because he was horrible. I mean, he was garbage.
So then, what is the point? He has to play like prime horrible for us to have a chance. Like that doesn't add up if it's sarcasm or not. See, man, you're a hater. I'm done.
We just have to ignore him because he tries to take over the show with Jalen Hurts hate.
Well, no. It's not just. It's not even that.
Show into something else, like a Jalen Hurts.
Because now you're taking away from football, and now you're saying he doesn't focus enough, and he likes jazz music too much. What's
Byron
nice?
Leftwich
he plays video games too much, and not in the study. Like, just stop.
Byron Leftwich was nice, Dylan. He was good at football. Yeah. His best season was 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions and like 2,900 passing yards. He was nice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, dude. Like, sure. Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. Stay balanced. Stay true to the identity today. What are we thinking? Who's the stars of the games? Offense, defense. Let's go.
Yeah, man. So while I think you have to stay true to your identity and run the ball a lot and often, AJ Brown. They should have no answer for him. I've talked about the Eagles are undefeated in games AJ Brown has played this year. Okay. Yeah. The offense just moves differently. We've seen life without him. We've seen life with him, but without Smitty. He is the glue. He is the guy. He's the big play guy. He can beat you on a go route 50 yards down the field. He can take it from 2 yards past the line of scrimmage and make you miss, and he's hard to bring down. They don't have anyone that can stop him today. I know Marlon Humphrey's ass definitely ain't doing it. And that 30th or 31st ranked pass defense you were mentioning earlier. But he's the guy, and we talked about physicality and remaining, keeping that physicality later on in the game. It has to do with Saquon. It has to do with Jalen's legs. But again, good luck on an A.J. Brown slant in the fourth quarter over and over again, continuing to bring him down, getting to the second level, and then having to deal with Saquon Barkley on top of it. A.J. Brown's going to go for over 100 again today. It's just like, it's almost like light work for A.J. Brown. Again, Scott, he had 109 yards last week and a touchdown. No one even fucking noticed or recognized because Saquon Barkley was Saquon Barkley last weekend. So, yeah, this is an A.J. Brown game for me offensively. Defensively, man, I mean, I want to go like one of the linebackers. If you have to spy Lamar, you can't take Cooper out of the slot, but I'm telling you now, Cooper DeJean is somewhat mixed in of a spy on Lamar Jackson and limited his rushing ability. Someone like that. So I'll go with Zach Bond. I think Zach Bond's going to have double-digit tackles today. I think he's going to have to be all over the field. And I think he'll have some say on third and shorts against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson.
I like it. I actually like it. I actually went with the same exact offensive player, AJ Brown. Like I said at the beginning of the show, he is the he's the outlier. He's kind of the guy that sticks out to make the difference between these two offenses. I think both offenses are great top 5 offenses at the end of the day. Both number 1 and number 2 rushing offenses, great at the end of the day. Ravens, they spread the ball around. They do pass the ball well. Like Lamar does get the ball out there. He just doesn't have a player like A.J. Brown. I do think A.J. Brown is ultimately the difference today. When you need a third down catch to get that crucial first down, I think he's it. When you need a touchdown in the red zone, I think he's the target that gets you it. Like, I think in these big moments within the game today, A.J. Brown will be called upon and he will answer. I think there will be a ton of attention on Saquon. Like we've talked about all show, you still keep your identity. It doesn't mean you stop running the football. Doesn't mean that you won't have success. I do just think there's going to be a ton of attention on him to the point where it gives openings for other guys. And then obviously a guy like A.J. Brown can take advantage. I could see him, man, up over 100 yards, multiple scores today, like a 2-touchdown type of game for A.J. Brown today. We'll see how much attention they put on him, right? You stick Marlon Humphrey on him. Maybe you double him, shadow him. Usually Kyle Hamilton doesn't play on the left side of the field, so it's interesting where he'll kind of shadow him on the field. But we'll see how it plays out.
That'll be a Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni decision, then, man. Is schematically how you try to give someone an advantage. Yeah.
No, I completely agree, but I do like your call out with the linebackers, as Brian's mentioned in there. They're going to be huge in this game. But I went with a different guy. I went with Milton Williams in this game to help get some pressure back there in that backfield on Lamar, keep containment. There was mentioning that he might play outside a little bit with BG going down as well. So he's going to have to step up for us. I think I look around the defensive line. I see a guy like BG go down. And I look around and I think, well, who's already been contributing? Josh Sweat leading the team in sacks, Nolan Smith having a great second year, right? But do you really want to ask him to do more? Can he do more, right? Like, these are all major question marks with him. I think Milton Williams is that guy, that versatile piece that you can plug outside, plug inside with Jalen Carter, and he can wreak a little bit of havoc, similar to maybe what BG can do. So I'm looking for Milton Williams to step up tonight, maybe get a sack or two, but the main thing, just getting pressure, getting in Lamar's face, but also being smart, containing.
Look, man, it's a group assignment today because you're trying to figure out what's their weakness, where do you want to hit them. So when I think of Derrick Henry running, I'm thinking of Derrick Henry between the tacklers, right? So I'm thinking of Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and Milton Williams and filling those gaps, right? But then you got to think of Lamar. And where's Lamar going to kill you? On a keeper, get end around. Now you need contain. Now I need the linebackers or the slot guy and the edge rushers to be aware. So it's an entire group effort today. It has to be. It's going to be a group effort to get these guys to the ground. They have a very good balance. Go ahead.
Is Roquan Smith active? Did you say that? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I did not peek if he is active or
he's
not.
Expected. I just checked it. He's expected to return today. That's a huge piece for their run defense or defense as a whole. Obviously, having that leader there, but even him being banged up is going to be a benefit.
Now this isn't. I like this point from Brian. There we go. That's. Now we're talking football, Brian.
I see the knowledge. I do see it. He just doesn't like Jalen Hurts.
The haterade spills out a bit. I get it.
All right.
But it happens.
As long as you're an Eagles fan, that's
I
fine.
do agree, man.
I love the Eagles at the end of the day.
Full team effort. Agreed, dude. It's going to be exciting nonetheless. The total, man, it's sitting around 50.5, I think. What do you make of this? Because on paper, you look at these two offenses, you talk about the struggles in the Ravens secondary, etc. You'd assume over. But isn't there something to this run-heavy, physical, drawn-out, old-school type of battle you could see today?
Yeah, and I think to your point, especially if the teams are having just mild success running the football, that means more clock's going to be run out. I think these offenses, you're not going to see the Ravens go 3 and out back-to-back today. Right. You know what I mean? They're gonna pick up a couple first downs. You're gonna have to get a crucial third down stop at the 50-yard line. It's gonna be stops like that today, in my opinion. I don't think you're gonna get a ton of turnovers in this game. I think there's gonna be a lot of movement on the ground. I think there's gonna be a lot of clock running, and time of possession is gonna be huge today. Now that you bring that up, so Yeah, man. Like I said earlier, steel on steel. That's what we're looking at today with this top rush defense in Baltimore versus this top rushing unit in Philadelphia. And then on the other side, you have metrically the best defense in the NFL in the Eagles versus a top 3 offense in both metrics when you look at passing, rushing the football. So it's gonna be a hell of a battle, man.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, the message is very clear and simple. Just find a way to win this game. Whether this game is 14-13 or this game is 41-37, it doesn't matter. You come away with a win. But like I said to start the show, there are things that you can do today that are going to prove that the ceiling is at the top of the mountain. And there's 2 things for me, right? You should be able to pass the ball, right? But if we can establish the run against that run defense, if we can dominate the line of scrimmage and beat them up on the ground, that's going to tell me that nobody is stopping what we're doing with Saquon Barkley. And then defensively for us, like I said, you've been playing out of this world over this 7-game win streak. You've had tests. You've had the Rams on the road. You had Jaden Daniels and them come to town. Don't get it twisted. It's not like they played nobody recently. This is another monster. I'm not saying they have to. It's not going to change my idea of the Eagles if their defense gives up 30 points today. It's just an added bonus if they continue to look like themselves today, because then I'm going to go, whoa. This defense is different than in years past. This defense is different than 22. This defense is different than 17. This defense complements this offense so incredibly well, and they will be the most balanced team in football if they come out and do that today, man. So, nonetheless, it is a humongous game.
Prediction. Who's winning?
I mean, we can't do all this to turn around and say that we're losing today. It's very possible the Eagles lose this game. Do not get it twisted. But I'm going to go with an Eagles win, man. I think that they are. We did our power rankings on Turf Talk. I fucked around a little bit, but I truly do believe it. You're talking 10 and now 11-1. At the time, it was 10-1 versus the 9-2 Eagles. You're talking a one game difference. I think the Eagles are more balanced. I think they're more complete. I think they have more firepower in a sense, name wise. I think the Eagles are playing like the best team in football at the moment, and I think they continue that today with a humongous victory. And we celebrate tomorrow morning, man.
Yeah, man, there's a couple different ways you can look at this game. Obviously, there's a perspective where you could look at this as an okay place to lose, right? Like, you're not going to end the season with only 2 losses. This is an okay loss to take. As we've gotten here, man, it just feels like such a big parameter game where we're looking for like targets or tests out there to test ourselves against. Whereas the Ravens, all they have to do is look right in house in the AFC. And that's all the tests that they're going to need in the postseason, right? We're looking at the Ravens as this huge test of the season. And I think ultimately is it a bigger game? Like, record-wise, it's a bigger game for the Ravens. But it feels bigger to me for the Eagles. And what I'll say going into my prediction, I think the Eagles are going to win this game on the road. I think it's going to be a huge, huge win. Yeah. It feels like they're more likely to lose to Pittsburgh in Philadelphia. If I had to pick a loss out of those 2 games, for some reason, it just feels like Pittsburgh would be the loss more than Baltimore. But maybe I'm just hyped today. Maybe I'm just excited. Maybe I'm just looking at this matchup on paper.
What you're saying is nationally and around the circles, the inner workings, this is a bigger test for the Philadelphia Eagles. But it should be, the story is, this is a huge test for the Baltimore Ravens to go win this game against 9-2 Eagles.
They need it.
That's the point, though, right? Like, we're going to get so down and bad tomorrow morning, and it's going to hurt so bad tonight if the Eagles go and lose this game. And some people are going to take it way too far and say, "Well, see, they don't beat anybody real. Look at the schedule, blah blah blah." That won't be true. But at the end of the day, what matters more? The Eagles losing and getting to 9-3, or the Ravens getting to 8-5, and potentially with the same record as the likes of the Broncos and Chargers and Cardinals and Seahawks. Like, that's now the level the Ravens will be put into if they reach 8-5 at home today. And we're sitting here talking about the big bad Ravens biggest test. How bad are you if you're at 8-5?
Yeah.
So they definitely need it more, man.
Refocus loss is interesting, Brian, the way Brian worded this, because I do think they're due for a refocus loss at some point throughout the rest of the season. Like, it's going to happen. We're not going to only lose 2 games. So it is interesting. He says the Ravens rested Roquan. It is interesting, man. This is steel on steel. I'm excited, man. Let's go watch some football. We're going to have to find ways to relax until that 425, matchup. I think it's so exciting because if we win this game, we're not supposed to win this game. It's in Baltimore. They need it more. Like Brian said, man.
3.5-point underdogs. You're not supposed to win this game.
Yeah,
my day's not starting too relaxing. Russell Wilson just threw a pick 6, so it's good.
Already.
It's a good start to the game today. Steelers defense was out, got the ball back. Pittsburgh picked up like 25 yards on the first play or two, and then since he's up 6-0 off the pick 6.
Beautiful.
So beautiful. Pretty dope over here. So maybe my picks are wrong.
We'll man.
Let's go relax. Guys, I see about 50 people in here right now. Not as many on the YouTube channel. If you're watching on Twitter, check out the link tree in our bio. First, follow us if you don't already. Second of all, link tree, bio, YouTube channel. It's the best and only spot to get involved, like Jose, like Casey, like Abe, like Brian, like Martian, like Darius, like Hunter, like everybody else. We can only see your comments pulled up through YouTube. So do yourself a favor, do us a favor, subscribe to the channel. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM. Have a great rest of your day, and go Birds.
Go Birds. Thanks.